Alaska, the last frontier. As rugged as it is majestic, from snow-capped mountains to the Pacific Ocean to the outside edge of the Inside Passage. Some of nature's most beautiful creatures and the world's most beautiful coastal environments. 2,000 miles from Omaha, Nebraska, but closer than ever. Welcome to Alaskan Adventure at Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium. A symphony of sculpture and spray. A humpback whale breaches in full glory. Another embarks on a deep dive, while three orcas porpoise nearby. An interactive moment in time with a wild supporting cast. Eager brown bears and playful puffins, jumping salmon and sea lions, each with their own personality, sunning on the rocks. 80 bronze sculptures in all, frolicking in an aquatic playground, encouraging kids of all ages to do the same.
When you can mix sculpture and animals and kids, and then throw water in the mix, it is a winning combination for fun.
This is actually something the kids are going to use and be attracted to, so I think that's really is a great thrill.
Omaha artist Matthew Plotchek. His work featured throughout the city, the CenturyLink Center, the Riverfront, Children's Hospital and Medical Center, and pieces here at the zoo.
There's the focal point.
The scope of Alaskan Adventure, bigger than anything he's undertaken before.
It didn't start this large. It started off small with maybe a whale tail, and the thing just kind of started growing.
The breaching humpback, a towering 25 feet high. About 7,500 pounds of bronze, another 7,500 pounds of stainless steel infrastructure.
Hoisting up, hold that there.
Its companion's tail,
Shooting down,
16 feet wide,
hoisting down.
8 feet tall.
I haven't worked with bronze on this large of a scale before. I don't like to work in the miniature scale, so the bigger the better. It started off, how can we create a tribute to Walter and Sue, but also show a part of their personality and what they love and something that people don't always get to see. And then also bring their love of the zoo and their love of Alaska kind of together.
Walter and Sue Scott, renowned Omaha philanthropists, zoo benefactors, and lovers of Alaska.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Mountains, glaciers, waterfalls, beautiful waterfalls. Go around every corner, there's another waterfall. And you can see glaciers, and you can see bears, and you can go fish. It's a big, gorgeous country.
Discussions about the exhibit date back to the summer of 2014. To bring that feeling back to Omaha, Plotchek went to his trove of Alaskan memories.
You know, I know what it feels like to see that whale breach, and it's just amazing. It takes your breath away. So I'm hopefully capturing some of that excitement when you see that whale.
A planned 2016 debut gave Plotchek and a host of collaborators, zoo staff, architects, engineers, foundry workers, and his own additional hires, a tight year and a half to bring Alaskan Adventure to life.
It's my vision to see this, but then it's also a whole team to get all these components to work.
Their biggest challenge throughout, the clock.
Working on this large of a project in such a short timeline.
With no time to waste, Plotchek and his team hunkered down in his Omaha studio. 10-hour days, 7 days a week. First, coaxing rough shapes out of big chunks of styrofoam.
I've been using this clay for 15 years.
Layers of non-hardening clay were then painted on.
When it hardens, you can carve different details into it. And if you don't like that, and see, you can get it super thin, you can almost see through it. So once that's done, then everything's smooth and refined. I like detail. That's where my whole career started. And I grew up on detail. But I'm into also creating pieces with personality, you know, that people can relate to the personality of the piece. The sea lions have such great personalities that that was a great opportunity for me to create facial expressions and movement, and whether they're sleeping or scratching or yawning. And then in the whale, trying to bring personality to that, but just the mass of that, and then showing the movement of it, twisting the whale a little bit and showing the flippers off center, and trying to create that movement of it coming up and then splashing too was a real challenge, but also part of the fun of the project.
Once Plotchek's vision was carefully realized in styrofoam and clay,
This is pretty big.
the mold maker began the shimming process,
I get more scissor and X-Acto cuts than I get paper cuts.
dividing each sculpture into panels.
The foundries can only handle a certain size piece. Their maximum size is 24 inches by 24 inches. So that's what I'm making each of these, what they're called panels, into.
So he'll divide this up into, the whale's 186 panels, and then spray it with rubber, paint it with plaster, and then cut all the molds apart and take them to Colorado.
Loveland, Colorado, home base for Bronze Services.
This project, there has been no boring to it. There's been exciting from the very beginning.
Work at the foundry began in November 2014.
Everybody in the plant is working on this project. From the very front to the back, everybody's got their hands on it. Especially right now, I mean, we're getting close to the deadline, so everybody's pushing pretty hard.
Like Plotchek, Bronze Services hired extra manpower for the colossal task.
This is a huge project. I mean, this is enormous.
Bronze sculpture is not a simple thing. It's a complex thing. And this particular project is more complex than most bronze sculptures I've ever done.
The crew at Bronze Services cast the bronze for the sculptures using the molded panels from Plotchek's studio and a lost wax process.
We take a latex and make a latex mold of that. And then we back it with plaster or some kind of mother mold. And then from there, we take that mold and then we make a wax impression of the original. And then we take the wax impression and we, what we call chasing it, but what we do is we take the imperfections out of it. And when that is to a certain stage, then we take that mold and put it in a kiln and melt the wax out. That's where the lost wax process really gets its name. And then we take that mold and pour the metal into it. Once we get the metal poured, then we take that gating system and the pattern, cut the pattern off, sandblast it, get it cleaned up, and then give it to a welder. A welder will take it and weld it back together. And then we take pneumatic tools and grind down the weld and then put the texture back in. So you couldn't even tell that it's been welded. And then the very last step is to put a patina on it. Because then they're lacquered, and then basically they're ready to install.
The color will hopefully take that to a next level, because the whale is going to have a patina thing that we're painting on there by hand, trying to bring the ocean finish to the whale.
Back in Omaha, across from Durham's Bear Canyon, temperatures are more Alaska-like.
Today they're shooting wet concrete just as kind of a base, but inside there is steel, rebar, and water lines.
Kiwa construction crews have worked through the winter creating the spray desk and recreating the landscape of the last frontier.
They're going to cut a new hole in the bottom.
Underneath this whole project is a whole series of pumps and lines with water, so that way you feel like when you walk out on this deck that you're going to feel like you're kind of walking out on the ocean.
Also a key part of the process, lead architect John Armconnect with Howe and Associates and engineers from Morrissey Engineering. They designed the steel infrastructure of the sculptures, rating for wind and snow loads.
That'll work.
And plotted the water lines for the play park.
The engineering has been probably some of the most tough engineering that I've been involved with in my 28 years working. That whale, like I said, is an enormous piece. When it's all said and done, with the stainless steel in it and the bronze, it's going to weigh around 17,000 pounds. Again, this is going to Omaha, so guess what? It's going to have to be tornado proof.
Swing and boom right around that train pole.
So now we're installing pieces.
18 months of labor in 2 states.
It's coming to life.
tens of thousands of pounds of bronze and steel, a product of intense creativity and collaboration, overflowing with possibilities.
Just want them to enjoy it. I want them to use it. They'll learn a little bit about each animal, but also they're going to learn scale, and you don't see that from a photograph. So they're going to learn the scale of this whale and how each animal relates to each other as far as scale, because you'll see this little puffin and you're going to see this whale behind it. You'll get a real sense of how we fit into all that.
2,000 miles from Alaska, a land as rugged as it is majestic, Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium welcomes a grand new addition, a gift to the community from generous private donors.
I think the project will be a great asset to the zoo, and I happen to think the zoo is a great asset for the city.
Your Alaskan adventure now closer than ever.